I know that many of you are on vacation or taking some time off this weekend and probably finding it harder than ever to, get all the videos in. But let me just say real quick, this morning's videos with Phil Beisel and the one this afternoon with Cern Basheer, if you can bookmark those, if you don't have time now, you could bookmark those or save them in your YouTube channel, whatever. Yeah, you don't want to miss those. They are super, super fascinating, super interesting, useful. I would call them useful. But of course, what I'm going to do right now is useful too. So I'm glad you're here. And I'll put the cards up for both of those in just a little bit. Let's dig right in. Sawyer Merritt, he's working this weekend. He says, hey, he was at a Tesla supercharger in upstate New York yesterday. There were 4 brand new Model Ys and 1 brand new Model 3 charging. All had taken delivery within the past 72 hours. Tesla's website currently shows no new Model Y inventory available within 200 miles of Los Angeles, Austin, Denver, or Atlanta. September starts in a couple of days, and it's going to be delivery madness. And it's going to keep going right through the end of the year, in my humble opinion. This is from Austy, USA, AUSTY, USA. He says, we are currently in the longest dry spell between FSD updates ever. It's 110 days when we went from 13.2.9 on hardware 4 and 193 days since the update to 12.6.4 on hardware 3. That's 193 days. That's more than half a year. So it's been a long, long time for those of us on hardware 3. Likely robotaxi and FSD next steps will take place. These next steps, this is what I'm guessing. This is what I'm betting. These are what I would say is going to happen in the month of September. Now, all these won't happen, but I'm saying most of these will happen in September. Number 1, we will add even more territory to Austin. Number 2, maybe even stretching out towards Dallas or something like that. Number 2, there will be more cars in Austin. Maybe we'll go from 17 to 35 or 40 or 50 because we're going to need more cars for that territory, to cover that territory the right way. And hopefully, this is just a hope, we'll open it up to the entire public in September as well. Number 3, I'm sorry, there will be more cars in the Bay Area also. That's my thinking. We will have new cities, at least one new city roll out with a safety rider. Maybe that'll be a California city. Maybe it'll be a Texas city. Maybe it'll be Arizona, or maybe it'll be Nevada. Maybe it'll be Florida. But we'll have a new city. We'll have one new city added to the list in September. The safety driver will come out in Austin. Maybe not all vehicles. Maybe the safety rider will continue to be N10, and the new ones, we'll have 30 new ones or whatever, and they'll be all without the safety rider. I think that in September, pretty sure we will add highways, like 45, 50 mile an hour highways. Maybe we'll add freeways in Austin, and maybe also in the Bay Area in September. And number 6, FSD version 14 for employees and early adopters, the folks that get them early. Those will happen in September. I don't expect the full rollout in September, but I do believe they'll start pushing it out to the first levels in September. So would that be good? Would that be, if we get most or all of those, that'd be a pretty good September. I never report on TCD. Even more so, I don't ever report on Electrek. It's a nonsense magazine. It's a ridiculous, lying magazine. So I don't usually report on it. But in this particular case, I thought it would be worth it. Tesla, because it's going to prove why I don't use either of these resources. But I think it's important to see what's out there sometimes and be able to let you know, look, why was the stock down on Friday? Maybe because of articles like this. So listen to this. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is known for confidently underestimating the time it will take for anticipated advancements across many of his ventures like Tesla X and SpaceX. Yeah, of course, he might underestimate, but he gets it done, and they're miraculous. They're things that people would say, he'll never be able to do that. In fact, that's what they did say. Some view this as an effort to push his company to make those goals, which may be the primary motivation, though a new Electrek editorial posited that some of those ambitious, unrealized promises look less like an expression of optimism and more like intentional deception. Now, remember, Elon Musk is autistic. Remember, he's on the spectrum. Do you know something about people on the spectrum? It's very hard for them to lie, very hard for them to deceive. What's happening? They want to know. Yeah. On Thursday, Electric's editor-in-chief Fred Lambert, who is a liar, published an article sparked by Musk's then recent exchange with Tesla investor and Musk acolyte Sawyer Merritt. 4 days prior, Merritt tweeted a brief clip from an interview featuring Uber CEO Dara unpronounceable last name. In the clip segment, an interviewer asked unpronounceable last name about the immediate future of autonomous electric vehicles. In response to a question about whether Waymo's multi-sensor approach would come out on top or if Tesla's camera-only setup would reign supreme, he doubted cameras alone could ever bring about superhuman levels of safety. Quote, LiDAR and radar reduce safety due to sensor contention. This sensor ambiguity causes increased, not decreased risk, Musk said in part when he answered this whole situation. And of course, more recently, he said that the FSD-14 is 2 to 3 times safer than humans. So that would already be superhuman in response to Khosrowshahi. The conversation caught Lambert's eye and reminded him of a discussion he'd had with Musk back in 2021. Lambert took issue with Musk's characterization of LiDAR and radar sensors as more dangerous than Tesla's camera-only solution, a contention he said was, in essence, a lie. It's not only false, Musk told me directly. He agreed that radar and vision could be safer than just vision right after he had said Tesla removed the radar from its vehicles, Lambert assisted. So Elon Musk said radar and vision combined could be safer. So therefore he's lying now, right? Well, that's the whole contention of the article. That's the whole contention of Fred Lambert. But let's go on. He even appended screenshots of his conversation to support his claim. But we're now in 2025, and unlike what Musk claimed, Tesla has yet to deliver on its self-driving promises, but the CEO is doubling down on the vision-only approach, Lambert added. In one of the screenshots from 2021, Musk admitted that now listen carefully, Mr. Lambert. Musk admitted that a very high-resolution radar would be better than pure vision, but that such a radar does not exist. Oh, that's the whole quote. Let me know in the comments below. Do you see the difference? Do you see what we're talking about here? Ultimately, Lambert observed an overriding theme in Musk's claims. If Tesla can't do something, well, it can't be done. Well, generally speaking, if it can't be done, Tesla finds a way to do it, but apparently Elon didn't care enough about making ultra great radar because he didn't need it. He felt he didn't need it. So why is this important? The article asks breathlessly. At the moment, the United States government appears to have gone all in against EVs, while peer nations like Norway are making the switch at a startling rate. For better or worse, Tesla dominated the electrical vehicle space for years before stumbling hard in 2025, but of course is still the #1 selling vehicle in the world is the Model Y, and Model 3 is number 2. I'm not number 2 in total sales, but almost in most countries is still number 2 in terms of EVs and in the United States. And by the same token, the highly unpredictable and otherwise abrasive Musk. The highly unpredictable and otherwise abrasive. Well, sometimes he's unpredictable and sometimes he's abrasive. I would think that any honest person that's watched his entire career would say that generally speaking, he's very predictable and not even close to being abrasive. Musk is functionally the automaker's mascot. At this point, separating Musk from Tesla is no easy task. Well, that's true. And his volatile public perception stands to discourage drivers from making their next car an EV. Lambert's newly disclosed exchange with Musk gave consumers another reason to doubt the CEO's motives, his relationship with the truth, and his putative disregard for safety. Did you see that? Did you see what they did there? None of that's true. That is the lie. You heard the difference. He didn't say that the existing LiDAR combined with vision would work. He said that would be worse. What he said was some future radar that might be invented someday in the future might actually be in combination be better. One electric commenter illustrated Musk's talent for souring trust, first asserting that the Tesla had believed consumers were stupid and unable to understand layers of safety mechanisms are redundancies. If planes are so safe, it is because they have loads of redundant systems for everything. The only thing he cares about is cost benefits. So he's telling us that it's okay for some people dying, the user angrily remarked. What? Teslas have, the FSD has triple redundancy. The braking system has double or triple, I think in Cybertrucks, it's triple redundancy. The steering system in the robotaxi, the Cybertruck has triple redundancy, I believe. Anyway, it's just, and Tesla makes the safest cars in the world on purpose. It's been proven over and over and over and over and over and over again, but the article doesn't say that. It's possible that Musk and Tesla came to truly believe these are unnecessary redundancies, despite some evidence to the contrary in favor of LiDAR plus radar. But part of the picture Lambert painted is that leaving any shadow of doubt is bad optics and can shake consumer confidence, especially when it comes to such a new frontier of combining technology and physical danger. So there you go. This is why I don't even read ever Electrek. I don't care how great the headline is. I never read it. I just don't read it. I can't trust it. It's complete nonsense. And it's a 100% lie with somebody who has Musk derangement syndrome. And this stupid, whatever it's called, AACD, whatever, this magazine is always a week late or 2 weeks late, never has, in any subject matter that they cover, it's never what happened yesterday or what happened a few hours ago. It's always from 2 weeks ago. And then you can see what a horrible job they did on this reporting. This is a very interesting article from the San Francisco Chronicle. Cruising along the intersecting highways of Oakland's MacArthur Maze, a motorist was captivated by an unusual sight in the next lane. A woman in sunglasses appeared to be dozing off, her head resting on a pillow behind the wheel of a moving Tesla. It was 2 p.m. on a Friday, August 22nd, and according to the witness, a collision had slowed traffic all around the seemingly sleeping woman. Drivers and passengers whipped out their phones and began filming. One person posted the footage on Reddit, where it quickly went viral, drawing equal parts astonishment, outrage, and disbelief. By the way, if you know anything about Teslas and stop-and-go traffic, you know that it's probably the safest thing in the world you can do would be to go to sleep. Wow, said Michaela Sawamimo. After watching the 10-second video, you could close your eyes for 10 seconds. I don't know, maybe not. The 10-second video on a Chronicle reporter's phone as she charged her Tesla Model 3 in a Target parking lot in San Francisco. Sawamimo soon gasped why the clip had triggered such visceral reactions. It's looked absurd and risky. While Teslas have extensive driver assistant features, they're not fully self-driving and are supposed to render a catnap impossible. In Reddit's comment section, opinions ran the gamut. Maybe the woman deserved public exposure, or perhaps she was acting and the whole thing had been staged. Like, for instance, she could have been putting her head back on a pillow. She could have had the sunglasses on, and she could have been looking just perfectly straight ahead, which is what the only thing that the requirement of the camera in the car has to do with. Inquiries to the original poster yielded no response as of Thursday. Yet the woman also represented a sort of wish fulfillment. At a moment when many consumers are fixated on the idea of owning autonomous vehicles, and manufacturers are racing to create them. For years, drivers have fantasized about napping, phone scrolling, lounging in the back seat while the computer takes over, and many have tried it. Purposefully or accidentally. In 2018, California Highway Patrol officers spent 7 minutes trying to outwit the autopilot system of a Tesla coasting down a peninsula highway, a local planning commissioner who had had too much to drink and snoozed away in the driver's seat. And again, based on my recent experience, if I was drunk, I'd be better off if I was going to get in the car at all, I'd be better off to have Tesla drive me home than to try to do it myself. Of course, I don't drink, so that would be a problem. Oh, yeah. Now that the technology is more widely available in consumer vehicles and not only in Teslas, now that the technology is more widely available in consumer vehicles, where? No, there's no other, there's not one, not a single other. What are they talking about? People continue to test the limits and reignite questions about potential abuse. Companies' efforts to install attention monitoring cameras and sensors seem to have been largely successful, while vexing motorists who insist that the safeguards referred to as a nag, often derisively, as I have done many times, are too incessant, undercutting the freedom associated with self-driving. Yeah, and so I'm very glad to hear that version 14, hopefully maybe we'll get some kind of an upgrade on version 12 that will cut down on the nag. Social media is replete with stunts in which people try to beat the nag by wearing glasses with fake eyes, placing weights on the steering wheel to simulate a hand applying torque, or hanging a picture of an attentive driver in front of the cabin camera. This whole genre of trolling evidently caught the attention of Tesla's chief executive, Elon Musk, who promised less nag in future software updates. Meanwhile, safety experts say cars equipped with what are essentially super advanced cruise control systems have clouded the definition of autonomous vehicles, tempting drivers and creating a quandary for law enforcement. Have clouded the definition of autonomous. So they clouded it. Of course, yes, they're going to say full self-driving is not full self-driving, but in fact, Tesla has been so clear in all of their literature, on all of their website, everywhere they go. Anyway, highway patrol officers can cite or arrest sleepers, but there's no law against taking one's hands off the wheel. That's good, since I've done about, 2,000, 3,000 miles now. Said agency spokesperson Sergeant Andrew Barclay. Some car companies, such as Cadillac, specifically market a hands-free option displaying images of suave and relaxed motorists, letting their vehicles do all the work. Yeah, we've seen, the Cadillac can do this in limited situations on freeways when you're going 45 miles an hour in traffic. The Reddit video comes at a particularly crucial moment for Tesla, which is under a microscope after a Miami jury this month ordered the company to pay more than $240 million as an autopilot crash that killed one person and severely injured another. In California, officials at the Department of Motor Vehicles are seeking to suspend Tesla from doing business for a month amid allegations the company overstated its vehicle's self-driving capabilities. Such nonsense. Even before these developments, Tesla had stumbled in a campaign to create mass-market autonomous vehicle. 2 years ago, the company recalled more than 2 million electric vehicles following a National Safety Traffic Administration probe that found the company measures to prevent customers from being distracted while using autopilot were inadequate. They recalled 2 million vehicles to do what? Oh, yeah, an over-the-air update. Yeah, that's what it was, to add the nag. Thank you very much, NISTA. The company maintains that drivers using either the autopilot or the full self-driving software are safer than other humans. That's been proven without a question of a doubt, in part because the cars don't get tired or drunk or act impulsively. That's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is because it's a better driver than a human. As Tesla beefs up its attention monitoring tech, Musk is seeking to convert the Model Y into a commercial robotaxi in Austin, a bid to counter Waymo's dominance in self-driving with 2,000 vehicles now. Cadillac, among others, recently entered the fray, installing hands-free, but again, not autonomous driving in 8 models, and not remotely, which they should have said in this rather balanced article, not even close to being the same as a Tesla. Drivers like Ernesto Caceres, though, are blurring the lines. He said he regularly relies on the full self-driving supervised mode in his Model Y for grueling commutes for his home east of Sacramento and El Dorado Hills to the Bay Area. When Caceres hasn't had enough sleep, he trusts the Model Y to navigate. We all do, whether we've had enough sleep, not enough sleep, whether we've had too much to drink, again, not my problem, but other people's, whether we're just distracted by people in the car, whether we're distracted by our devices, whatever it is, we are definitely counting on the vehicle to give us outstanding, safe rides, and we are there only to back it up. If you're steady, he says, and you have your hands on the wheel, you can sort of nap. You don't need your hands on the wheel anymore. You don't have to do that. You take your hands off the wheel. All you have to do is look ahead. Cicera said that during one of his morning drives this past week, he nodded off for maybe a minute, but the car apparently noticed after displaying a series of warnings on the dashboard touchscreen, the system shut off, logged a strikeout. If Cicera racks up 5 such infractions, his supervised self-driving feature is supposed to become disabled for a week, which did happen to me once. But it wasn't because I was napping. It was because I was, I was trying to, there was no cars anyway. Several Tesla drivers told the Chronicle that their cars would not allow their attention to drift, let alone permit them to drop off to sleep. In newer models, a camera mounted above the rearview mirror, not in newer, my model is a 2021, and it has it. And it tracks eye movement, etc., and sensors on the steering wheel detect the weight of the hands. Some even said that monitors were frustratingly sensitive. We've already just talked about that. Still others said that they like using the self-driving feature, but stay vigilant. No, that would be everyone, not some, not others. Everybody has to stay vigilant. One man charging his Tesla on a recent day at the El Cerrito Plaza compared the experience to having a teenager with a learner's permit at the wheel. No. I have been in a car with 4 different teenagers who are learning to drive, and I can tell you, and I was a teenager learning to drive, I can tell you it is maybe 100 times safer than a teenager learning to drive. Victor Diaz, the general manager at Cadillac Marin, said he's tested many cars that are outfitted with supervised self-driving and never managed to take his eyes off the road without an instant scolding from the vehicle's dashboard. You can't be sleeping, you can't be reading. That's 100% true. To demonstrate, he opened the door of a hulking black SUV parked in the dealership showroom, the 2026 Vistique with Super Cruise hands-free driving assistance technology. The behemoth had a camera at the steering column to monitor the driver's eyes and head for indications of distraction. If the cameras and the steering wheel sensor detect a lapse of attention, the car will issue escalating alerts, a light bar on the steering wheel, shrill beeps, voice prompts to grab the steering wheel, seat vibrations. If the person doesn't respond after 3 alerts, the car brakes to a stop. Well, that wouldn't be particularly useful in the middle of the freeway. It would be way more useful if it was like to get off the freeway. Though Diaz said he is less familiar with Tesla's safety apparatus, he's tried mimicking distracted driver behavior in a Cybertruck, and it wouldn't let me do that. He was among those convinced that the Reddit video was staged. 𝐒𝐚𝐚𝐲, the driver who was charging up in San Francisco, is experimenting with workarounds for the alerts in her Model 3. She is a tried and true one on Tuesday, donning sunglasses before activating self-driving on her way home from In-N-Out. 𝐒𝐚𝐚𝐲 jostled the steering wheel between bites. To her satisfaction, it worked. Okay, so first of all, I don't know how well it worked. What I can tell you is that if your sunglasses are too dark, sometimes you don't get to drive. It won't let you. And if your sunglasses are not too dark, then it will let you drive, and it can tell if you are gaming the system. This is Randy Kirk, by the way. I know there's a huge amount of Tesla information, right? It's Randy Kirk. Like, subscribe, notify. Remember now, lots of content this weekend. So tomorrow you've got all day long. You've got another Brian Wang tomorrow. You've got another Cern Basheer tomorrow. You got lots more content on Monday. I mean, content all week long. So if you've got the time, if you can break away from what you're doing, just please do it. And then help me out with Patreon. All right. From the Beisel letter, we haven't quoted him in a long time. He says, are commodities set for a rally? Now, we've pointed out every month when we do the Cathie Wood that commodities today are about the same price in many cases as they were 50 years ago. And that's not even adjusted for inflation. They're the actual same price. I mean, look at oil. Oil, at $60 a gallon, you don't have to go back. You have to go back a long time to get well under 60. We had one time when it dropped down to back down to 20, 25, but it's been 40, 50, 60. I mean, this is normal. And with, again, not adjusted for inflation. The S&P 500 to commodity index ratio has hit an all-time high, he says. Since the 2022 bear market, this ratio has nearly tripled, surpassing the previous peak during the 2020 pandemic. Over this period, the commodity price index has fallen 31%. The commodity price index has fallen 31%. Oh, I guess inflation's under control while the S&P 500 has rallied 71%. The commodity price index covers categories such as energy, metals, minerals, agriculture, fertilizers, weighted by global trade shares. Not even during the 2000 dot-com bubble were commodities this cheap relative to U.S. equities. Some commodities are trading at historically attractive levels. Okay, let's talk about why commodities are, and I've done this a couple of times, but let me just spend 1 minute doing it. Number one, we are able to mine and harvest, plant harvest agriculture and commodities way more efficiently and effectively every year. It gets better and better. And the fact that we've got all these migrants that have gone home are forcing the farmers to move up into automation where they might not have otherwise. Almost every part of agriculture is now automated. And in fact, some tractors and some harvesters and whatnot now are autonomous. They do not require a driver. And almost all of the actual activity out in the field is now done in many cases, is done 100% automation right into the box. All right, so this is going to keep those prices down. Now you got mining, same thing. Lots and lots of automation, lots and lots of autonomy happening with the equipment that they're using. They're just getting better and better and better at all of these things, even drilling for oil with all the different techniques they're using now for oil and gas. So this is not totally surprising that commodities are so low. Add to that, the rest of the world is now better at drilling and better at agriculture. And so that also is, we've been helping the world. One of the things that America has been doing for the last 40 years is going out and helping other countries to become better at farming, better at agriculture. That hurts our farmers, I realize, but it was this generous spirit of America that we went out and did this, something which most people on the left seem to forget when they're talking about how much they hate this country. Some commodities are trading at historically attractive levels. Polls are, okay, that was the end of that story. Polls are now completely 100% useless. Democrats lie. Democrats are now lying to pollsters with impunity. They don't even they don't even think about it. So the polls are becoming completely unhelpful. These different things that we have, like the consumer confidence index and the consumer sentiment index, the polls that these pollsters are taking, the left is just flat lying. Here's an example I think that will prove my point. Check this one from Rasmussen. According to the poll, only 52% of likely U.S. voters say that Trump is more accessible to the news media than Biden. 52% say that. Well, that sounds like all Republicans and some independents, right? An incredible 25% think Trump is less accessible than Biden, who was never in front of the press, and Trump's in front of the press pretty much daily. And then a nutty 16% believe it's about the same. All right, this is like all over the news every single day. It's on the regular news, it's on the independent news, it's on YouTube, it's on X, it's on everything. And it couldn't be more obvious than that men can't have babies or periods. It couldn't be any more obvious. This is like, it's not like, oh, I could have an opinion one way or the other. No, this is like, you just have to open your eyes. So for anybody to answer the poll and say, oh, no, Trump is not nearly as accessible to the press as Biden was. No, he's less accessible. That's a flat lie. It isn't, oh, I'm shaving the truth. No, it's a flat lie. And this is what's happening over and over and over again. And it's making the polls impossible to be used for financial information, for gathering information about how the Democrats are doing versus the Republicans in terms of the next competitions, the contests. It's just completely blowing everything up. And so this is crazy. I don't know what we do. I don't know what we do about this. They're just flat lying. Rasmussen right now is showing that 46% of the country says that the country's headed in the right direction. My guess would be that's all Republicans, because a Gallup poll came out the other day that said that 0% of Democrats think that the country's doing well right now. 0. Not 5, not 10, 0. All right, I got a couple last two stories. Lisa Cook, I wanted to let you know what my opinion is on this. I believe that if the judge, the federal judge, where the case was heard on Friday, if that federal judge comes out probably on Tuesday, my best guess would be she won't come out over the weekend. If she comes out on Tuesday and she says that Lisa Cook can stay, this will go immediately to the Supreme Court, and it won't even be it won't take them 5 minutes, and it will be 9-0. Even the Democrat judges will agree. This will be a 9-0 decision. This is not hard. This is like straightforward law. Okay. President has the right. The right is stated in the law. It is a judgment call. And it's not like the courts can just override his judgment and say, no, you're wrong. But even if they wanted to override the judgment, if they wanted to go that step, then the reasons that are stated would be sufficient. That's my opinion. We'll see where that comes out. Last story, tariffs. What's going to happen with the tariffs? You know that a federal judge, what was it, 7-4 on this federal appeals court, judges came out and said, oh, no, these tariffs are illegal, not a chance, you can't do it because this is not an emergency. The president hasn't proved that the president can't just claim an emergency for whatever he wants and then take whatever actions he wants. This one's going to be a much tougher thing when it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I'm going to guess Tuesday or Wednesday. This is going to be a little tougher in terms of the Supreme Court. I'm a little harder pressed to see how they're going to do it. How they're going to come out on it. I think he will get 4 easy votes, probably will get the 5th vote out of the 6. Roberts might decide to go the other way, so he'll probably get either 4 or 5. I don't think he'll get all 6 of the Republican leaning judges, but I do believe he'll win it. I do also think that there's at least a slight chance that he won't, but there's other ways that he can couch this so he can immediately fall back on other legislation. There's 2 other pieces of legislation that he can immediately fall back on and say, no, the tariffs stay in place because of this or because of this. Now, what has to happen is the Supreme Court would have to agree with the appeals court. Then he would make those claims. If the Supreme Court says, no, it's perfectly okay, you can use that congressional act with regard to an emergency to get these tariffs done, you're A-okay, then he won't need to take this other action. So that's where we are. And there could be some kind of a split decision. There could be some aspects of what he's done that are not okay, but I don't think so. I think this is going to be an all or nothing. Now, the appeals court did a 150-page analysis of what was going on. I have certainly not read those 150 pages, but I think it's going to be a 5-4 decision in the Supreme Court, and it'll be in favor of Trump. That's my theory. That's all I got for you, except this. Go back and look at Cern Basheer from just a little while ago, where he and I went over a very cool analysis of whether Tesla or SpaceX will be the most valuable company ever on the history of the planet. Which one will be the biggest? Because it could be a big fight between the 2. And I'd love to hear how you felt, whether you feel that I proved that SpaceX would be the number 1, or whether he proves that Tesla will be the number 1. And it doesn't really matter, because in both cases, we'll probably have valuations of over 25, 50, $100 trillion, who knows, but big numbers. And it might not even be one of those 2. We talk a little bit about how the other 4 companies could also be in the running. All right. And then the other one, and I'll put a card up for that, of course, wherever that card goes. I think it goes here. And then I'll put up one also for the Phil Beisel video that I did this morning, which actually it's been going really good all day. Finally, there's quite a lot of people that have watched that one. I really need to get the numbers up on the Cern Basheer one, because that was really good. But the Phil Beisel video was, we were talking about, what were we talking about? Oh, yes, how an engineer sees the world, in particular with regard to the Austin safety rider and also with regard to things like the SpaceX launch the other day. Whether you're an engineer or you're not an engineer, I think it would be, especially if you're not an engineer, I think was really useful to me, super useful to see, oh, those are the reasons why the rider is still in the car after 2 months. So anyway, that card will be up there as well. And again, tomorrow and the next day, lots and lots of content. So please check in. That's all I got for you right now. It's been great talking to you.